would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years.
Interesting. I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it's a big jump to go from 54, which was a step up from 47. Right?
Now
So it goes to 54, and now he's going to 68. That's so much weight.
A lot of weight.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can.
Max Kellerman recently joined Joe Rogan to share a surprising take on the upcoming super fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Instead of following the usual predictions, Kellerman offered a bold view that grabbed fans' attention. He explained that this fight has the potential to reshape the legacies of both men and even decide who deserves the title of boxing's pound-for-pound best. On one side, Canelo brings enormous punching power and years of experience against top-level opponents. But what really shocked people was Kellerman's confidence in Crawford. He highlighted Crawford's incredible ability to adapt during a fight, reading his opponents and breaking them down round by round. In Kellerman's eyes, that ring intelligence could be the key factor that gives Crawford the upper hand against the powerful Alvarez.
Definitely. Okay, so then a little bit of this and that between Canelo and Crawford. I'll give you a list of attributes, and then tell me who do you feel is best in that attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But, early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who? I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter, and I would assume he could maintain that advantage going into this fight.
Last attribute, ring IQ.
They both have sky-high ring IQs. If I have to, Crawford. If you ask me again, there's a reason that I think Crawford's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Max Kellerman is making a big comeback to boxing commentary as part of Netflix's broadcast team for the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight on September 13th, 2025. This will be his first major role in the sport since leaving ESPN in 2023. Kellerman will join John Anik and Andre Ward at ringside, offering the sharp analysis that made him one of boxing's most respected voices. At the announcement, he called the matchup a perfect storm and made it clear where he stands. In his view, Terence "Bud" Crawford, not Canelo, is the current pound-for-pound king. He did acknowledge that Canelo once held that title, but believes Crawford has now taken over as the best in boxing today.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, a perfect storm. First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. Do you know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have before Canelo? Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Joe Rogan has made it clear that he's siding with Terence Crawford in the upcoming clash. He points to Crawford's versatility and high ring IQ as the biggest advantages over Canelo Alvarez. Rogan noted that while Canelo was once a dynamic combination puncher, he has slowed down in recent years and now depends more on single power shots. By contrast, Rogan sees Crawford as a rare talent, one of the smoothest switch hitters since Marvin Hagler, able to move effortlessly between orthodox and southpaw while staying dangerous in both stances. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he and Jim Lampley discussed the fight from different angles. Rogan leaned heavily toward Crawford, stressing his accuracy, intelligence, and improved strength after bulking up, which he believes could allow Crawford to outbox Alvarez. Lampley, however, gave a more balanced take. He praised Crawford's skill, even comparing him to a modern Sugar Ray Robinson, but ultimately backed Canelo. In his view, Alvarez's power, counterpunching ability, and famously strong chin, along with his lower body strength, could be the deciding factors in shutting down Crawford's offense.
Yeah.
Shoot, what
Go
about
get away.
Crawford and Canelo?
What do you think of that?
Personally, I'm a big Crawford fan, so I'm going to lean his way. My only concern is just the size. It didn't look like Terrence's power transferred in the last fight, so
With
now it's coming up some more. You know what I mean?
Part of the problem with that is Madrimov is really good.
Yeah,
he's really fucking good.
But I just think Crawford is. It's weird to say against Canelo, but I think he's the better boxer, and I think he's the guy who can make the better in-fight adjustments if Canelo doesn't kill him.
It's going to be interesting, I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's a big jump to go from 54, which was a step up from 47. Right?
Now
so it goes to 54, and now he's going to 68. That's so much weight.
A lot of weight.
But Terence I think he's the best switch hitter since Hagler.
They claim Hagler was my favorite. They claim he's walking around like a $190 or something, and you do know he's a wrestler.
In another interview, Jim Lampley made it clear that he's picking Canelo Alvarez to defeat Terence Crawford. While he praised Crawford as today's most complete fighter, Lampley believes Canelo's size, experience, and championship background give him the edge. He explained that the real difference comes down to weight and big fight experience. Canelo is naturally stronger at 168 pounds and has been through countless high-pressure moments in his career. Lampley feels those advantages could cancel out Crawford's adaptability and skill, ultimately tilting the fight in Canelo's favor.
Canelo's smart. Absolutely, he's smart. He knows this business as well as anybody. So, no, it's not surprising that Canelo learned from Floyd and has employed some of that in the retention of his career. Canelo still knows how to make fireworks when he absolutely has to make fireworks. But at the end of the day, he's a counterpuncher. He's a great defender. He has the most solid punch resistance of anybody in the sport. Nobody's ever knocked him off balance. Nobody's ever really knocked him down. There's only one official knockdown in his career, and it was because he bounced off the ropes when Jose Cotto hit him with a hard shot to the chest. And the referee employed a strict interpretation of the rules and said, oh, the ropes held you up, so that's a knockdown. He's never been put on his back by anybody. He rides horseback every morning. His legs are the strongest in the sport. You're not going to beat Canelo